Alright guys, on today's video we're going to be discussing Batman and Robin and why it's honestly the best Batman movie that's out there. Now, a lot of people give this movie a lot of crap. Honestly, I don't see why it gets that. It has a lot of the top billings. You got Arnold Schwarzenegger, you have George Clooney, you got Chris O'Donnell, Uma Thurman, and Alicia Silverstone. At least four out of those five people are huge stars today. Alicia Silverstone, not so much, but you got Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's one of the hugest action stars there are. You got George Clooney, who's huge ladies' man. I don't think there's a lady out there who doesn't really like George Clooney. You got Uma Thurman, who did Kill Bill, Pulp Fiction. Does a lot of acting stuff that, I don't think there's really anyone out there who doesn't like Uma. Then you got Chris O'Donnell, who didn't do a lot of huge movies, but, does now one of the NCISs, I think LA. But, this movie packed a lot of huge star power for, especially back then in the 90s. And you also had the brilliant director, Joel Schumacher, who did The Client, Batman Forever. So this movie was riding on the coattails of Batman Forever, which, reinvented the franchise from back then. Batman Returns had not done quite as well as they thought they were going to do, so they decided to give the reins, take them from Tim Burton and kind of pass them to Joel Schumacher, who accepted. And so then he went on to, do that, and huge successful movie for Batman Forever, and then went on to do Batman and Robin. A lot of people just did not like this movie. But when I watched it, I saw a Bruce Wayne that had gone from dark and brooding and angry, frustrated all the time, to a Bruce that had kind of accepted his parents' death and now, was kind of embracing that family mentality, but hadn't quite got there yet, kind of like where he was in the 1950s, where the Bat family was expanding. There were still things that he was kind of psychologically damaged, but he hadn't come to the full realization that, yeah, I do need help. I'm not quite there yet. But he wasn't the brooding, dark knight, that he had been when he first started on this lone venture. So when I watched the movie, I really enjoyed it. Seeing something else that just wasn't, I'm angry, I'm dark. It really was refreshing to see George Clooney's take on it. When he says, "Hi, Freeze, I'm Batman." It was, it kind of made me chuckle. I was like, all right, well then this is something that's more my alley. This Batman isn't. He doesn't take himself too seriously. He's kind of more at ease with himself, which is what I think the Batman character should be. He should be at ease with himself. And then you have Robin. Who joins Batman again in this outing in an awesome suit, not quite Nightwing, but still Robin, but kind of moving toward that Nightwing like design. But he's kind of growing into his own, learning from the Bat, but kind of growing up some, and I think that is a lot of where life is. Where we want to learn from our mentors, but we still want to be our own. And I think this movie really, really does reflect that. I thought, the Robin cycle that he had was really kind of cool when, at the beginning of the movie when, the Batmobile, which was beautifully done. Kudos to the designers on that. In fact, it made me go out and actually buy the toy Batmobile. That's how much I loved the design of it. But when the Robin cycle comes out, and then the thing kind of branches out, with the two neon lights on the side with the Robin signals, and the motorcycle comes up and Robin hops on and drives off. I was just like, wow, that's pretty cool, But I thought they gave these characters, a lot to do. A lot to do. Stuff that you wouldn't necessarily see in any other comic book movie, or since then. And I just thought that was really cool. The fight with the hockey team. That was really kind of cool. They go up against Mr. Freeze, a villain that they'd never seen before, but they were so prepared. They click their heels and boom, ice skates come out. It's like Superman would never have thought of that. No one else really would have thought about that, but Batman, he's always prepared, and dude had ice skates. How cool is that? And I think that's one of the reasons why Batman is my favorite hero, is because he always is prepared. He's got the grapple hooks, he's got the batarangs, but the dude even has ice skates in his boots. He didn't even know he was going up against an ice villain until 2 minutes before the fight. But dude had ice skates in his boots, both him and Robin. To me, I'm just like, that's really cool. I loved that. The whole design, that whole fight was really cool. And, to me, I'm sitting there in the theater and I was like, how did they get a rocket in this museum? To me, that's how real that this world was, that they could actually do something like that. That made Mr. Freeze that much more terrifying, because I don't even know how you would do that. But when you have Mr. Freeze do something like that, it's like, wow, this guy is legit. And when you sit there and watch him, when they're in the rocket ship, watching him control that rocket ship, that, I actually thought they gave Arnold Schwarzenegger, lessons in, flying, like a, actually, like, pilot lessons, because he looked like he knew what he was doing. So kudos to everybody on that. It's just, it looked like they took a lot of time and care into this movie. And again, every time I watch it, it just gets better and better. We've got these movies nowadays, Captain America, you know, Avengers, Deadpool. But to me, I have to go back to Batman and Robin, because they put the time and they put the effort into the characters. And speaking of characters, Alicia Silverstone. They cast her as Batgirl, and it wasn't Barbara Gordon Batgirl; it was Barbara Wilson Batgirl, which wasn't in the comics. But that's okay. And it wasn't Gordon's daughter; it was Alfred's niece. To which, at the time, I was like, well, what is that? That intrigued me, because when you do something that's completely not comic book related at all, even character design, when you look at Batgirl's character and you're like, that doesn't even look like the character, that really intrigues me. And so, that type of effort, that just left field. So, I was just completely interested, because I'm like, well, what are they going to do with this character? And the whole time I was sitting there like, okay, maybe she's going to double cross Batman and Robin, because I've never seen this character quite before. And when they said that she had come all the way from overseas, I forget which school it was exactly, and I was like, but she's not talking with an accent. And that was genius, acted method, method acting on Alicia Silverstone's part, because she can't do an accent, so she decided, why try? And I like that. An actor that knows their restrictions, why go there? I thought that was just smart on Joel Schumacher's part. His mentality must have been, why we're paying her too much money to even have her try. Why go there? We've got so much with the piloting lessons for Arnold. Let's not teach her how to speak with an accent of any kind, even though we're having her from over there. So again, kind of throws the audience off, like, well, maybe she's not a hero. But at the end of the movie, when they all come together as a family, it kind of makes you go, oh man, I was worried for nothing. So again, it's that whole, you can trust people who don't seem trustworthy. And I like that, because that whole movie, kind of just makes you not want to trust it. But, it is kind of there. It's on the level. And speaking of on the level, Uma Thurman. Any woman that can dance in a monkey suit, that's hot. And I even thought that then. I think that's kind of why I, kind of have a fetish with monkeys nowadays. I go to the zoo and I see them, I see a monkey and I'm like, whoa, man. And it takes me back to those days of Uma Thurman. So I have her to blame for that. But I can't fault anything. And it made me go out and search, her one line about how every Poison Ivy action figure comes complete with him, and then she points to Bane. It made me go out and search for that, which they, ironically enough, that was the one action figure they didn't make. So, that kind of threw me off. But, kudos to them for that, for going there, for kind of misleading. I loved that anyway. But and then the one thing, the one threat in this movie that was just absolutely phenomenal. I would say would probably be Bane. That guy was huge. And when they were fighting, when him and Batman were on the scaffold in that whatever factory it was, it must have been for like the Nickelodeon slime factory or something. I'm not sure what that was, but it was really cool. Um, I felt like George Clooney was going to get his back broken in that scene, but thankfully they didn't go there. They played it safe. So I really enjoyed that. Just seeing that character brought to screen in such a realistic way, and then how they took him down with Robin and Batgirl working together, kicking the hose out. That to me, I was just like, whew, wow, they went there. So thankfully, the bat wasn't broken. I just, I didn't see any wasted potential in this movie at all. I felt like they used all the characters. Some movies seem overcrowded. This one wasn't at all. It seemed like it was constant action, constant, camaraderie with the people. They used every character efficiently. It was just very cohesive. The graphics were really good, especially when, the rocket ship blew up and Batman and Robin were kind of skateboarding down, or surfboarding down. That broke the laws of physics. I'm not sure how to explain that, but again, to me, that's one of those things where it's like, well, it's Batman. You don't really have to explain it, because I'm sure he probably had some type of glue to his boots that would have kept him to that board. So to me, I'm like, you don't have to explain it. That's that's okay. We just saw ice skates. You don't have to explain this. I'm hook, line, and sinker. I'm good. But to me, this movie's really good, and the scenes with Alfred though, it's a little heavy handed. That brought a tear to my eye with Bruce and Alfred. That the father son scenes with Bruce and Alfred. Where Bruce is kind of tripping. Not really sure why. Kind of delusional, Bruce moments, from childhood. To me, I'm just like, well, I kind of do that too. I think we all kind of just trip balls for no reason. But, to me, I'm like, well, I believe in the character now. A guy dresses up as a bat and trips balls for no reason. If you guys have stuck through this video, you guys got more patience than I do, because this movie was a piece of shit. Oh my god. All right. Enough sarcasm. Yeah. All right. Yeah, this movie sucks. We all know it. Fuck. I couldn't give a straight face during half that shit. All right. All right. All right. I hope you guys had much fun listening to me rant about this movie in a sarcastic manner. All right. Keep on geeking on, guys.